We're gonna get working on this. I just didn't start up an intro. Well, that's one way to remove that. Well, here's my pontoon boat. It's been sitting around for a while, just collecting junk. Got buckets full of water. Oh yeah, I can tell the kids have been up here playing. Probably not really a good thing because everything's rotting out. I'm not even gonna be able to open this lid. I started making some new backs for it though, so we're gonna get working on this. I just didn't start up an intro. Well, that's one way to remove that. So here's the battery compartment, and I think I'm gonna need to redo these battery cables. Yeah, they're they're in great shape. Oh shoot. Well, that's what happens, I suppose. Well, no, that wire's still pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna be able to cut it. There it goes. Get the proper size wrench here. Start getting these battery cables off so I can work on them. Obviously gonna have to replace these batteries. I will try to recondition them for sure, but I doubt it. It is highly unlikely that that'll work. But we have to get all this stuff out of here. Wish I knew what size socket that'd take. Anyhow, if we can get these guys out of here, then I can start to get everything cleaned up and figure out what's working and what's not and get this thing back together. I love this boat. I don't really want it to sit any longer. So anyhow, luckily it's got an all aluminum deck. Otherwise it'd be in the same shape as the rest of this wood, rotten. All right, we'll be back when we're fixing cables. All right, so time to test some batteries. Let's see what happens here. All right, so what I have here is a smart charger, and first I like to check. It says this battery has 14.3 volts, so it's probably good. I'm gonna go ahead and run the reconditioning on it, which this will probably take about a day or so, but hopefully this battery should be good. Okay, now that we have done the reconditioning, let's hit charge and see what happens, because it will analyze the battery at this point. Let's see if I can get down in there. It says it's analyzing battery. Wow. So let's see where it decided to charge at. Oh man, it must have drained the battery down some, because it's charging at around 15 amps. It's going down quick though. It's down to 13 and some change already. All right, so we're gonna let this thing do its thing. It's all the way down to 11 amps, so I'm sure it won't take very long. Once it gets to a trickle, I'm gonna put it on a regular trickle charger and then start with the other battery for the pontoon boat. So, all right, we'll be back in just a second. Okay guys, so I have this On the trickle charger, charging. Green light flashing is a good sign. And I'm going to grab the other battery and see if we can help it any. Okay, so this is an Exide battery, and it's actually newer than the Duracell, but it's been my experience that these Exide batteries don't handle abuse. And it has been my experience that I will abuse anything just because I guess I can. Alright, so let's check the battery voltage first. It says 8.7 volts. Let's just hit charge and see what happens without reconditioning. Okay, and we're back. It says internal open cell or sulfated cell. Oh, connect condition. So it won't charge. So I'm going to go ahead and hit recondition and see if anything happens here. Oh, it actually is trying to charge slowly. Huh. Okay, well, I'm not sure what's going on. We're just going to leave it to its thing, and hopefully it's actually charging at 3 amps. Alright, so let's start by trimming back 3/4 of an inch of the insulation on the wire. Just be real careful that you don't cut yourself. This stuff is pretty hard to trim. You'll see here that it's fighting me pretty good. Even after I get a nick in it, I still have a hard time peeling it off. This isn't even hard yet. Sometimes this stuff is hard and it makes it even tougher to get off. Alright, now that we got the insulation off, it's time to fit the copper connector to make sure that it's going to fit well and all the wire fits inside of it. This is pretty easy usually with this big wire, because any little bit you can just trim out on the outside edge, but it's best to try to get everything inside of it. Okay, so I consider this one of the most important parts, and that's the flux. You have to have flux on everything, or the solder just doesn't stick right if you don't have flux. So you have to get a little bit of flux. It doesn't take a lot, just a little bit on the wire, and then you need to get a little bit into the connector, and you'll melt it into the connector when you're heating it up. Now I chose to use vice grips with a stationary torch. I don't have a bench vise at this time, so if you have a bench vise, I would recommend putting your connector in the bench vise and holding the torch in your hand. Now's a good time to fire up the torch. It doesn't have to be real hot, I just crack it on. You'll notice I'm using a MAP torch. Propane takes a little longer. You can use propane, but the MAP torch is much faster. Now that that's good and hot, let's get some solder in there. Now my goal, once the solder starts to melt, is to go ahead and just fill this fitting halfway up, because we want to make sure that it goes all the way into the wire, and it will soak into the wire. But when you're doing this, it's always good practice to make sure that your feet are clear and there's nothing that can be ruined by the solder hitting on the floor, because it will spill out a little bit. Alright, now that it's good and hot and all melted in, let's go ahead and melt this in. I'm going to heat it up a little more to burn into the rubber a little bit. I want it to be a good solid connection with as much wire in there as possible, and trying to have no gap between the fitting and the insulation. Alright, now watch how I would do both ends of the wire without anybody watching, just my natural ways of doing it. This is it. Alright guys, so this is how our connections ended up. You'll see that it pushed the rubber a little bit, so it melted. That way it gave us a good tight connection. See, there's one little strand of wire, and I can just take and wiggle this wire until it breaks, just like that. So I mean, this one didn't quite make it. So see, that's why I only trim a 3/4 of an inch, because it'll go in here almost an inch. This one I had to actually trim more, and see, I ended up with a little bit of an air gap. So I may have to try to figure something out, and I may get some heat shrink for these wires, since I am in a salty environment. So, but anyhow, like, this negative wire turned out real good. So this one was like perfect. But all right, well, that's gonna conclude the wires, and we're gonna put them back in the boat and hook everything back up. But I got to take this off, and I'm just gonna clean this stuff up with a wire brush real quick. That's all it needs. So all right guys, well, that's gonna just about wrap this one up for now. We're gonna go ahead and make another video of putting everything back together, and hopefully a first fire up on the pontoon boat. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like and comment, and if not already, subscribe, hit the little bell. All right, see you.